say he didn't have a limp or whatever.
No, but that's the kind of stuff that like nobody thinks to ask. Like, hey, are you
Yeah.
disabled?
But I mean, I think like everybody, it's weird, but like everybody expects maybe the person to be potentially a little bit chubbier or a little bit older.
No, that's different.
Older than their picture.
I don't expect you to
And
be
then,
like
yeah.
a cerebral palsy person.
Yeah, I mean, but he's not a cerebral.
No, but it was something where it looked more genetic.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So yeah.
And it's something where I don't want to criticize him too much because I don't know that experience.
Yeah. But I could see how like.
Hold on one second.
Yeah. So I talked to my roommate about a guy that came by from Grindr. He feels slightly deceived.
What was that?
Oh, I was talking about your situation. To the explaining for the video about what happened.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Just because. Yeah.
I don't really care.
I mean, because it was already somewhat recorded on the previous video, but then it's not going to be connected to this one exactly. So I thought I'd recap it a little bit. No, but it's fine.
Just in general, I just feel bad.
Yeah.
And it's a situation where, like, I
understand what you mean.
I think if I want to do,
in a way, I think like because you would feel slightly more deceived or whatever, but in a way, it's almost could fall. I mean, it's a matter of opinion, I guess, but it could fall into that same area of like a little extra weight or whatever. It's just it's like
to me, I don't
nobody wants to advertise because you're just trying to get a little bit of
the big
sex,
difference
right?
that I have found with weight is a lot of people, unless it's like some crazy like a 90-pound difference.
Yeah.
A lot of people will actually think like. You'll see people and you'll see that they'll be like, they have a six-pack on their profile and they're sending you pictures where they clearly don't have one.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you have a little bit of muscle, but like you do not have that six-pack.
That's not the same photo. Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is...
that would be a direct lie.
No, but, well, no, I think what I was trying to say is some people don't realize, like, once they've lost it. Like, they're in such denial. So if it's like 10, 15 pounds, I don't care that much.
Yeah.
When it's like you've lied, like it's 80 pounds, that's different.
Yeah.
Like I know you know. Because like sometimes people will just make excuses and you're really in denial about it. And so like that's the kind of stuff where it's like if one of my friends said he had a person show up in a wheelchair and he had no idea what to do.
Yeah, that's awkward.
Because like so what he ended up doing is he let the guy blow him partially because it was like the right height, which is horrible. But that's what the guy wanted.
Sometimes transgender people wind up, not advertising it.
I'm mixed about that. I feel like if you hook up with someone once and you know you're very convincing, and I think I've said it before, I think I wouldn't want it done to me, but if you feel scared or bad, as long as you expect it to only be a one-time thing, and you're the kind of person.
Maybe he only expects it to be a one-time thing, potentially.
You could tell.
The
way it was like trying to hold my hands and stuff, and then the way that like even after it was over, I kind of had to give him all the signs to go.
Yeah.
Like that's not usually somebody that like.
Gotcha.
Gets that, and then like he started talking about my TV shows and stuff, and then I was like, ugh. But then I felt bad because like I didn't want to make him feel like. I didn't want to have what I've had done to me when I was younger, which is different because it's not a disability, it's an age thing. But it is making someone feel not validated.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to do the thing of like, well, we both did our thing, so please leave.
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable doing it when it's with somebody that I know is like cool with that. Or like when they do it to me, I don't mind anymore because I get it.
Yeah.
Like my thing is if we had extensive conversation online, then I think it's rude. Like if it wasn't just about sex and we talked about like lots of other things, and then it catches me more off guard. But if it's like, hey, want to hook up, you want to fuck, and then it's just like, then in the end, like you literally show up to the person's house, get naked right away and fuck, and the person's like, oh hey, I gotta work now, and the person's like, how dare you? Then it's like we had zero conversation before, so like I do nothing. The only thing I owe you is maybe a 5-minute shower really quickly. And like, cause I feel like that's kind of rude when I've had people Like, you have hot, sweaty sex for like 2 hours, and like, they didn't tell you they were in a time limit, and then they're just, you're like, oh, can I hop in the shower? And they're like, oh no, like, I really gotta go right now.
Yeah.
And you're like, but I told you I was going back to work. And now I have to go back to work like Smelly.
Yeah, it sucks.
But that's
That'd be terrible.
but that's like mild stuff.
Yeah.
And he's too much of a geek for me.
Yeah. How can you tell he's a geek or whatever?
Are you kidding me? Like, that... I always feel weird because the way I'm into my stuff, like, a lot of the stuff I'm into is very geeky, but I don't feel like I'm into it in the same... It's like a different geek thing.
I basically know what you mean.
Like, it's geeky taste, but, like, I always tend to want stuff with, like, emotional... I find it's more artistic.
Gotcha.
For the most part, with, like, geeky tendencies. Like, I don't usually like things...
You're not just attracted to, like, superpowers by themselves.
No, I would be...
Or whatever, yeah.
Like, that's something where, like, I think occasionally, like, some of the stuff I grew up on, like, Power Rangers and...
Like how you don't... You're not... I might have thought that you would really be into Salt, but you didn't like Salt that much.
No, because there was no emotion.
Yeah.
And I felt like it actually had a lot of potential for it. That's what it bothered me more. Because I felt like they were trying to do it, like, in the beginning... like, the whole waterboarding scene I thought was well done.
Yeah, I felt like they wanted to sort of, like, give, like, emotions as, like, a backdrop or something, but basically it wasn't about that. Basically it was about...
Well, I thought her performance with the waterboarding scene in particular, like, really drew me in.
Yeah.
But the way they edited the music, the cinematography for the whole thing, was not for you to feel... Like, you were supposed to feel bad, like you said, like a backdrop.
Yeah.
But you weren't supposed to be crying.
Yeah, I think it was mostly just about like awesome action or whatever.
Well, that's part of also why I didn't get a sequel.
Is that right?
Yeah, well, because they thought that it was going to generate all this money, and then like it generated a decent amount. But I also think they were like, well, what's the next step then? Because then the next step would be, if I'm remembering correctly, she would have to take down the people in the American government who are other Russian spies.
Yeah.
It was also racist as well.
Well, against
I mean, just the concept of that is like an Agent Carter. They could do it for a couple episodes, but like and it was in the 40s, so it's kind of more expected to do that kind of plot line.
Yeah, I think at the time that they did it, they didn't realize, you know, that Russia would become like an actual potential enemy of the States or whatever. You know, that like, you know, they thought of the Cold War as something that was silly or whatever. Cold. But now they're back. You know, now it's like since the election, it's like we think of Russia as a real enemy again.
By the way, that's also part of why I started hating the later seasons of Buffy and the later seasons of Xena.
Because of Russian stuff?
No, I mean that would be kind of weird. I
don't know what you mean.
Xena. No, in terms of like the emotional depth, I thought disappeared.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like, wow, Xena and Gabrielle are really hot, and like they're half naked and they're doing crazy, silly things.
Yeah.
But like I felt like what I loved about the earlier seasons and Buffy in the same way, what I would say even season 4, there were multiple like really heart-wrenching emotional moments and their comedy was great. And then I felt like in the later seasons they had a couple moments
Yes, it really feels bad when shows get sexier out of like
popularity.
Yeah, we're trying to hold on to the ratings or whatever. It feels like really desperate.
Well, Sarah Michelle Gellar, I thought, also went from looking like very healthy to kind of fit to kind of emaciated.
Well, I mean, that was just how she chose to live.
Yeah, I still don't think.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, it wasn't. But at least that wasn't for the show. That was just probably her choice to be a model, to try to look like a model.
At the same time, she said she felt sexually objectified on Buffy.
Well, especially I think the Spike thing was, yeah, and that's kind of what I meant. I think personally, I thought it worked, but like, I think, you know, you have to respect her feelings and her truth about that. So yeah.
Well, Jessica Alba said she felt sexually objectified, especially in the second season. Because once her anorexia cleared up, then she got more shape. They used to pad her.
I thought in particular that like one scene when he had, even when I talk about it, when I describe it, it sounds disgusting, but he had her like bent over like the rafter, and they were doing like an exhibitionist thing of the club that they like to dance in or whatever.
The Bronze.
Yeah, the Bronze, and then so they were sort of in public, and he had her sort of like bent over that or whatever, and then like then they were having sex, but then she could get caught or whatever. I think that happened, right? I'm not making that up, right?
I honestly tuned out parts.
I think I'm pretty sure that happened. I have to find the episode, but like I feel like that one in particular was like this is getting a little really.
Well, no, for me it was Angel. That was too far. With Connor and Cordelia, there was no going back from that.
See, it's weird how I didn't think that was that bad. But I mean, I certainly think that like
I think he wanted the audience to hate her, like not just hate her like a little bit, but hate the actress.
I think he wanted to make
he had some issues with her.
Possibly, yeah. He wanted to make her also do something that she was uncomfortable with, and try to get her to quit, which is fucked up.
Well, especially because she had been part of the show for so long, for both shows, and she had made them both popular.
Was she already pregnant at that point, though? I'm not sure if she was pregnant at that point.
No, I didn't like her, though, as the first. I thought she was horrible. I remember laughing. When she tried to be evil, especially when Faith was in those episodes, even though she was good.
I think those were, like, the Writer's Strikes episode, by the way.
Oh, the ones where they were, like...
Yeah. It was, like, that episode was, like, that episode where she had sex with what's his name with
they weren't around.
Connor. That was that was the last episode before the writer's strike, and then when they came back and like Cordelia was evil, that was all during the writer's strike.
Well, I thought the Faith episodes were good. It was just Cordelia's lines for the most part. Like they also didn't give her a lot, which was why it was funnier. And she would just say kind of nonsense stuff.
Oh, Cordelia was in that one with Faith or whatever.
Faith was in 4 episodes or 5.
With Cordelia there also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch those.
Really?
Because I sort of
boycotted.
No, I don't think I was boycotting it, but I sort of like I just was like I'm not sure exactly why I stopped watching. I think I was
the show got bad.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure what it was. I think the Wesley thing really bothered me when Wesley got his throat slit by the guy, and then he was like trying to. No, it wasn't even. It was. I never even got to that part. But like, he got his throat. He wasn't even a bad person at that point. He wasn't even like starting to act cool at that point, really. But he just got his throat slit by the guy, and he was trying to explain to Angel like why he made the terrible mistake he made, and he was like, "I'm so sorry." And then Wesley, like, Angel literally tried to suffocate him in the hospital while he was recovering from having his throat slit, and then somehow he lived through that, which I don't think he would have lived. Which I think is like, in a way, I think if you want to make Angel so childish that he would suffocate somebody who's recovering from having his throat slit because he made like a terrible mistake, then I think that like Angel should have to live with having accidentally killed him. But instead he lived somehow. It's like, how would he possibly survive that? Like it was strange enough that he would survive at all after having his throat slit. but then like a super strong vampire grabbed him and like tried to suffocate him. That's it, he's dead, you know. But of course he survived. And but I mean,
they did that all the time in those shows.
No, I mean that was particularly. I don't think anything was that stupid in the show. I think, and just having Angel attack Wesley at that point, I was like completely disgusted with his decision to attack Wesley.
Well, I think they lost sight of what the show was supposed to be after the first few seasons, and they just didn't know what they were doing.
I mean, Wesley made a terrible mistake, and you could tell him that you won't forgive him, but like, if he's recovering in the hospital, you can't just like hit him and kill, and like you can just smash him with a pillow.
I felt like what they were trying to do is they were trying to do what they did with Xena and Gabrielle when she lied about her daughter.
Yeah.
They were trying to do a similar kind of like fracture of friendship.
But of course, Xena would never like. Xena or Gabrielle would neither of them ever like punch the other one like in the face while they were bleeding out on the floor.
You do not remember the infamous drag scene?
What was it?
So it was in the musical episode before. I mean, but it's Xena, so I feel like Xena was always more ridiculous.
Yes, so tell me.
But she took a whip and then like wrapped it around her feet, dragged her through fire. Her head hit like a massive rock. Like there was no way she would have survived.
Why did she do that?
And like even the way that they filmed the rock hitting her and then it goes to the screen was like kind of funny.
Why did she do that though?
Oh, it was because her daughter killed her son because Gabrielle was too naive and Xena kept saying your baby's evil. And then Gabrielle trusted her random daughter.
But I'm saying at least at the time that Xena did that to Gabrielle wasn't already dying. It wasn't like she was bleeding out and she was like, "I'm sorry, Xena," and then she smashed her head on a rock.
No, I also felt the difference though between the two was Xena had been known to have moments of bad judgment when she got very upset.
Yeah.
And so I felt like that was part of the character.
Yeah.
Where I felt like Angel wasn't really like that much unless you slept with him.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it was more of another problem because he was pretty much a saint unless you sleep with him.
Yeah.
And so then I also just think Wesley's relationship with Angel was cool. And I felt like they were they were like frat brothers who were like decently tight.
Yeah.
But I didn't like Xena and Gabrielle, they were like sisters.
Yeah.
Or lovers. And so I felt like the betrayal was like 80 times worse.
Yeah.
And it was even more worse because it spanned over a season and a half. It wasn't just like something that was an arc for a few episodes. Because you thought the kid was dead.
Look, I have a chakram like Xena.
Oh, that was what started our conversation.
Was it? Oh,
he saw my chakram and he was like, "Oh, you have a chakram."
Oh, right.
And I was like,
Oh, I thought you meant that you started talking about Xena because you saw the chakram here.
But that looks like season 2 or season 5 chakram.
Yeah, they probably did it on purpose.
It's funny, me and Lucy Lawless had the same favorite chakram.
What's that one?
She didn't like season 5 and season 6.
What was her favorite chakram?
The original, which is just like the circle. Because then the chakram became crazy and could split in two and stuff. And became silver and gold and stuff.
That's annoying, yeah.
I mean, it was fine. It was just kind of like this.
I mean, upgrades like that, are annoying.
That's exactly what it felt like was like a superhero upgrade.
Yeah. Where
it was like, we need ratings, so...
And nobody ever likes the superhero upgrades. They always are like, oh, why do you have to do that? Like it was already good. That was a big problem with the second Avengers movie. I don't know if you ever saw it, but
parts of it.
They gave Captain America an upgrade to his shield that they took away later, where Captain America's shield had a magnet that attached to it that could come back to his hand because of a magnet. And it was
so basically it
looked really bad. No, it was already a chakram almost before that, but it was like a chakram. It was more like the chakram. It was already like the chakram. That's the chakram was actually more based on Captain America's shield.
It was actually based
in
on
the comics.
Weapon.
No, but I mean the idea that it would bounce off a whole bunch of things and then come back to her. That was what Captain America would do with his shield in the comics. So it was somewhat based on that. But then instead of having it be like Xena's chakram, they had it be like a crazy magnet that would I don't know, it's hard to describe, but he would make the magnet it would fly to his wrist also, because he's like the magnet on his wrist.
Oh, so
and it looked really bad. It looked really terrible. It's hard to describe all the way that they did. Messed it up.
Chakrams exactly like that. And it's there's throwing one after the other.
This could be Gabrielle.
This is like what she does when she gets Xena's chakram.
Yeah, this is
and she clones it.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like she's wasting them.
Yeah.
She's just like, it doesn't matter.
Why do you have so many?
Chakram.
Maybe she's using magic to make the chakram come back to her.
Pony Gabrielle.
She can do 2 though at a time at least. There's at least 2.
That show is so good. I just rewatched one of the best episodes of the show with John the other day. And I always try to think that, you know what, the show is good and it's still one of my favorite shows, but maybe it's just because of nostalgia. And it was interesting, we watched behind the scenes with Lucy and Renee watching it, the 2 actors, and they were crying during it, which is very rare for them. And most actors, when they watch their work, they're just like, oh, this was a good scene, I really liked it. But they got absorbed and they kind of forgot that it was them.
That's so cute.
And they're really, really good friends, which they in real life, which is really cool.
Nice.
And they both admit the show, they would never have probably been friends because they're so different. She tends to be the person that someone asks them if you met at a party, do you think you guys would have been friends if it weren't for the show? And Lucy Lawless was like, I probably would have been talking to 80 people and never noticed Renee, because Renee would be hiding in a corner with somebody, and Renee would be like, I would have been too shy and envious of you. So it's very weird seeing how good actors on a show, when a show's really, really good, they'll say that 20 years after the show, it's like the friendships that they actually get to make.
Yeah.
I find very few casts are like that, sadly.
Oh, I didn't get a power up this time.
I'm trying to think of other shows. Is Friends like that? I don't think so.
Friends like what?
I'm trying to think of other shows.
Usually gives you a power up.
I guess Voyager was
I think he
like
gave me a heart
that.
instead of a power up.
And what was the other Star Trek show? You know where that cast becomes really, really good friends? Oh, and Star Trek.
Yeah.
Both of those shows were all shows where like they're
something
still
about
tied to this day.
Something about the campiness of the shows, I think, probably helps.
Well, because I feel like it's a mix, but also it's like, and apparently Star Trek, the 80s, 90s series, like, they all, like, just laughed all the time.
What? My bubble didn't even protect
And so,
me.
like, whereas Deep Space Nine, the big joke was, like, if you went to their set, even the guy who played, was it Worf who said this? Yeah, I think he said that Deep Space Nine, he didn't like working on that much for the first couple of years. Because he said that, like, nobody liked to joke around on that set. Like, they would just go there and do their jobs, and, like, some people didn't like each other.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Whereas, like, the Voyager cast and, Time Force, Power Rangers Time Force, it's kind of sad.
I've been watching a little bit of Enterprise, and, that show, that show wasn't campy, also, I think. Deep Space Nine also was, like, a little bit more, like, cooler, and tried not to be too campy, I think, and that maybe that was part of it.
Well, because I think what I liked about Voyager and
it's like Enterprise, they really try to make it, like, realistic, like conversations that real people would have in a really boring way. I've never seen, like, such boring, normal conversations. And they'd be like, how about that weather? And the person would be like, yes, indeed, it is going to be cold today. And be like, this is a scene in a show about a spaceship or whatever. And you'd be like, oh my god,
like
you're killing me. No, but in a way it was like really good, realistic dialogue. Like, I feel like it felt very, very adult, like super adult.
But it was like, but that's the kind of thing in those kind of shows, like, you don't want, like, boring, mundane conversation for too long.
Yeah, but it was like the best boring, mundane conversation. It was like really realistic, I thought. I mean,
sometimes I felt
better probably than what you find.
That was something that used to drive me nuts about Buffy, that everybody was too witty all the time.
Yeah.
Like, at first it was just Sarah Michelle Gellar, and then, like, Giles, really, I thought, like, they were kind of the super witty ones.
Yeah.
And Xander had some good one-liners, and Cordelia was a bitch. But, like, I felt like they all felt relatively normal, minus the sci-fi stuff, sci-fi element. But then, like, at a certain point, everybody was just witty.
Yeah.
And I was just like, did this become the cast of Mean Girls? And Warren is totally Josh Whedon, I'm convinced. I think he views himself as that.
Or some part of him.
I rewatched.
Probably also, he probably thinks, I don't know, probably also Giles and
I think he would
Xander.
love to be Giles.
Yeah.
And Xander, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I felt like, especially, I think he was like...
Yeah, I could see Warren as being part of his worst self or something.
Well, that's like the evil. Like,
yeah.
Like, I think Xander was more like the sometimes childish and catty side of him, but, like, he also had a fun-loving side.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure Josh Whedon has, but then, like, Warren was like the sick shit. The shit that, like, you don't tell almost anybody about. Except for when you're a writer, you write about it, and if people are smart, they pick up on it.
Yeah.
That reminds me too much of Pony.
Oh.
That's like Pony with the snowballs with Michelle.
I hate this thing. Probably just shouldn't fight it.
That's what I kept trying to tell Michelle.
Don't fight ponies.
You did it!
I did it. I put the knife in its butt.
What? Michelle didn't do that.
Just like Michelle put the knife in the butt of Pony or something.
No, she apparently kept, like, he was walking really slow, like, because he's a bum.
Yeah.
And so then she couldn't take it anymore, and so she started throwing, like, little teeny snowballs. And then
that's messed up.
Yeah, but he moved.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she did, like,
because Michelle is Hitler.
No, but Pony used to drive me insane with that because, like, out of nowhere, he would just start running around like he was on crack or, like, methamphetamine. But then he would just be like, nope, I'm bored. I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But then, like, he would go in the house. Like, 25 minutes later, they'd be like, he went in the house. It's like, I knew that dog had to go. But he was like, I'd rather lie down because it's nice. Can you imagine if that's how we as humans behaved?
Yeah.
If we were just like, I have to poop. but I'd rather just go to sleep and then be like, oh, I guess I'll just poop in my bed, whatever.
Yeah.
And then like you just go run around the apartment with like poop dripping everywhere.
No, I died.
Pony did like that. He didn't really care.
If I died?
No, but he wouldn't mind if there was poop dripping off, but then of course it would get clogged and then he'd get upset.
This is super gross.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's a reality. And it used to drive me nuts because it was like, you do this to yourself. And then he wouldn't want you to clean him, and then it was like, why do you cause so much drama for such a little dog?
Yeah, it's a bad dog.
He was spoiled. But he was my baby.
Yeah.
I always feel guilty that I love him more than I love the dog I grew up with, that I still cared about him.
Yeah.
I told you about the time I was trying to have sex and Pony made me let him watch.
No.
He kept scratching on the door, and so then I would open it, and because of how small my room was and the bed was on the floor, he would just like have to look at me.
I mean, I think that's fine, but it's funny the way you say it.
It was really awkward though, because like I would like shut the door almost all the way, and he'd be like, nope. And he would put his little paw in and like open it a little bit.
Yeah.
And as soon as he could make eye contact, then he would be like, like, you're sick.
It's a sick dog.
Either way, he needed his fix. I don't know what his fix was, but it did involve me. But then, like, and he used to get mad because it took him probably about a year to realize if I was having sex with somebody that he could not just come in the room. Because he would try to get in the bed with us.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Dogs are difficult like that.
Well, I find what's great about cats is, like, they'll usually shade you, but then if you go, like, boo or something, they'll shade you some more and they'll leave.
Yeah.
Because, like, they realize, like, fuck you, bitch, like, you're still in my territory, but, like, I'll come back later and bother you about it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, dogs are just, like, I think some of it is stupidity, and the other part of it is territorial. But I think it combines. Like, I think cats realize, like, they're doing something that they want to do. They're assholes, and they, like, stole my, like, throne, but... like, I'll be back to claim it in a bit.
I would imagine dogs have cognitive dissonance. Maybe that's too complicated for them, but, like, I feel like they can't accept, like, your meanness or whatever if they really like you. At least that's my imagination of what dogs think.
Like, we love you anyway!
Yeah.
Whereas the cat would be like, be mean to me a couple times and see how well I like you.
So, like, unfortunately, sometimes somebody, like, abuses a dog or something, and then the dog would just be like, why did that happen? I don't know. And then they'll just be like, whatever, he loves me. And then they'll just get abused again. And, you know, and that's sort of like cognitive dissonance because it's like that's their reality that they can't accept.
I think a lot of the times that's true.
Yeah.
It's
so there's at least a thing with people. It's just sad with people as well. Sadder with people, I guess.
I feel cats are more like if you play with them like
I feel sadder with dogs because we love dogs so much.
Like either ever or it'll take like a long time.
Yeah.
I feel like dogs depend on you more for survival. Cats don't nearly as much.
Although cats will forgive you like when you step on their tail, which is not wrong too, but...
Not my cats, not right away.
Yeah.
They'll forgive you like in a day or two.
I've had cats forgive me a lot faster than I expected. But, you know, I believe you that sometimes cats...
Well, my one cat had been abused growing up, so, like, that was part of why any harm came to her.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she held it against you.
Yeah,
she was just nervous for her safety.
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
But she used to go out on her own. Like, every, like...
Yeah.
Probably, like, once every 6 months. She'd go away for a couple days and then come back.
Cool.
Go relax.
Cool.
You gonna go to Thanksgiving tomorrow?
Your mom's thing?
I thought it was at Susan and Arnie's. I don't know who's it at.
Oh, I think that there's one at your mom's house, I think. I'm not sure. It's at least Peg's in some way, I think.
Well, no, I know it's that thing that they sometimes do, like, every year where they call it, like, Peg's and Susan's and whoever else is.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's
my parents and my uncle are calling it Peg's thing.
Yeah, I think it might be one of those things where, like, Susan's letting her have it there or something. I don't know.
It might just be my mistake entirely.
Yeah, I just know that my mom, I'm pretty sure told me it was Susan and stuff, but I could totally be wrong. I'm also very tired. But you're going? Was my question.
No, I don't think so. I'm just gonna stay here.
That's exactly the kind of stuff Pony would do, by the way.
That's what he did
which
to
one?
My
door. It would be like that exact kind of sequence.
Throw the axis and then the magic door appears.
Well, no, then he would have like been in $1 million dog.
Yeah.
He would just do this. He would go, I was always impressed with how lazy that dog could be until I saw Lazier Shih Tzu, where I asked the woman the time and she was crossing the street, and she literally looked for about 1 second, and in that second the dog was like, good night, went to sleep. Like in the middle of the street.
That's funny.
And she was like trying to wake it up because the light had changed, and they were just like, "What?" Like I'm taking a nap. Pony wasn't that. I mean, Pony was
a lot of these like
princess
these
dogs.
Not just that, but these like pure breeds are like actually really worthless in terms of like that's like the inbreeding or whatever. Yeah.
Well, no, they're made to be worshipped.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but it's also the selective breeding. Like the mutts are much stronger than the pure breeds. The pure breeds wind up with all these crazy diseases and stuff like that, and to a certain degree it will also enter into like their strength and stuff, their physical strength and their endurance and their
Pony was weak.
Yeah.
I don't know why I love the little dog so much. I think we went through a lot together. I think he was very sad a lot going back.
It's like that episode of Rick and Morty that I showed you with the tiny snowball or whatever. And it was like, would you like take like a dog that had like tiny legs and then made it with another dog that had tiny legs to try to get a dog with even tinier legs? Because that's what humans do. And then the dogs wind up like, really weak compared to like the stronger dogs or whatever. But like,
Dad, I'm gonna have nightmares, by the way.
About the flamey?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know why it scared me.
That's weird.
I'm gonna go chill.
Okay, cool.
Right there. Boom, boom. He really looks like Pony. That's like what I picture like Pony.
As a human.
Yeah, the human being. It's the up and down thing is very Pony.
Yeah.
He was like too lazy to breathe.
His big animal puppy.
But like his fuzz would like move a lot. I do feel bad that I made him do Proud Mary. That was something I feel like he forgave me for that, and that was crazy. He was so good at it.
I remember.
Did you see it? Were you there?
I think so. It was. Yeah, I'm sure I was there. If
It
was only one time, then I was there. But if you've done it a bunch of times, then I was there one of the times.
I'll never forget because I remember after that I felt really bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was there. Or at least if I wasn't there when you did that, I was there when you did something similar to that.
No, that was the only time I made him dance. Yeah, like I didn't just make him like do a quick one step.
Yeah.
I made him do like the full snapping choreography, like the hair whip, and then like the whole rolling down the river, and then like he did like some moonwalk moves as well, and then did the hair thing again.
Yeah.
He did the entire 3-minute and something song. We videoed it, and then my laptop broke like a few months later, and so I lost the video.
No. Too bad it never went to YouTube.
I'm very glad it did not go to YouTube.
Yeah, I guess so. That would be a shame.
But I kind of wish I had it. But then Pony was mad at me for like a day. Like he didn't want me to take him out. And then I apologized and I bought him some treats and I cuddled with him for like pretty much 48 hours. Like anytime he wasn't going out. And I was like in my room, like he was like sleeping next to me. I would pet his stomach. So basically it was like he had to deal with a 3-minute traumatic experience and then he went to a spa. He was like the closest I would probably ever get to putting a dog in a purse. But Pony was too big. Everybody thought he was small, but if you tried to put him in a purse...
I could picture him liking that.
No, he loved stuff like that. They would have to be like a big purse.
Yeah.
Like he loved his dog carrier. As long as his head could be out of it, he was very happy.
Cool.
He didn't like it if we had to be in the subway and I had to close it.
Yeah.
And it was really funny because he'd sit very awkwardly and uncomfortably. But like as long as his head was pressed on it, then he was like, I'll break free. But he would be like that for like 35 minutes. But then, like, as soon as you open it, he would be like, see, I did it.
That's funny.
I will never get over how dogs, like, I went to Johnny and Brad for like 25 minutes last night at the end of the night. because they're very close.
Yeah.
And they were dog sitting, and one of the dogs was like, "Oh, where's my butt? Oh, there it is. Oh, where's my butt? Oh, there it is. Oh, where's my butt?" And like he did it probably for like I don't know, like 20 minutes. I was very happy with himself.
That's funny.
But you could tell like he would be like, "Oh, there it is. Like I thought I lost it," and then he'd be like 2 seconds later, "Where is it?"
That's funny.
Stress. That's what this game should be called.
It is called that in my mind.
Stress.
Yeah.
Stress, the warrior Zelda.
Yeah. Will you enjoy playing this game though? Or is it still too cartoony for you?
I'd like probably enjoy playing it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it seems like it wouldn't be your thing.
It's
really hard.
I'm also traumatized by the Daughter of Dracula, which this game, like these kind of games remind me of that.
What is Daughter of Dracula? Is that an old game?
It was a mobile game on the Nokia that like they let you play like 90% of it and you couldn't save it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, by the way, if you want the real version, now you have to buy it.
Oh yeah.
That's not as bad as Golden Axe was like close to that. Do you remember that? Was that you? We played the demo version that like
yeah.
played like 45 minutes worth of it.
Yeah, I think so. I remember that.
To be fair though, it did say demo, but
yeah.
I was just shocked that it wasn't like a level or two. No, but this game was bad. Like I played it probably for like 8 hours, and then I was like, if you'd like to buy it,
yeah.
And it was like, wait, what? And I can't save it.
In a way, it doesn't seem so bad. Like it's like at least it's
8 hours. Like, if I had known, I would not have even bothered to play it.
Yeah, oh, but then, I mean, how much is the actual game, though? Because I'm saying, like, you have 8 hours of fun, and then you could...
You don't get to continue with it. But... So, like, I would have to replay those 8 hours.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks, but...
See,
yeah, it seems unreasonable.
I mean,
well, I mean, yeah, that would suck. But, I mean, it depends on how much... I mean, like, if it wasn't like you had to continue, then, like... In a way, if it's just like $5 or whatever, then in a way it's like sort of like, oh, let me pay the $5 to support the developer or whatever, you know.
I also will say that like it just like.
What's funny is that when you get hit with the bubble, I think when you get hit twice you die, but when you get hit with the bubble, it doesn't remove the bubble. So I can't tell. Like I would think that I'm invulnerable.
You would think like you didn't get.
Like I would think I'm invulnerable right now, but last time I got killed with the bubble around me, so now I know that if I get hit one more time, I'll probably die. But it's kind of annoying because it's probably just a glitch that it doesn't take the bubble away. I think either that or these things are not actually hurting me, which is possible also.
I can't with Pony's little Bob.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I honestly wasn't even thinking that he's dead. Like in my head, he's not.
Yeah, no. I don't think he is necessarily.
I mean, I personally believe he probably is, but I tend to just think of him as, like, my baby.
Might not be.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's people that would love to have a dog like that, and hopefully.
To be honest, if I didn't love him and take care of him as long as they did, I might not love them as much.
Yeah.
That laziness is crazy. That, like, made, like, my depression laziness look like nothing.
Oh, man.
I felt like he was almost more spoiled than like a dog that had their own personal groomer. Because he would be like, I know I stink, I know I smell, cuddle me now.
Sometimes the double jump just doesn't go off.
Can you please say that out of context one day?
These things don't hurt you, they just annoy you.
No, but I feel like you should say that the other thing, the double jump thing.
Yeah.
Like you're hanging out with your parents one day, and be like, sometimes the double jump doesn't work the way it's supposed to. I'll be like, what? And just be like, I've been hitting X like for the last like 10 minutes.
Yep.
I'll probably
will do.
I think that's fine.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.
I'm like so tired I don't want to get up. Oh, I have to check my work schedule.
Wonder if the bubble is helping with this. I'm gonna save the video clip here.